You are now listening to the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Almost. Major. Holy fucking shit, this is major!
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Almost Major, where we talk about the many major studios and the films they release. It's been so long since I've said that. My name is Kevin Tudor. I'm here with Bryden Doyle.
Hello.
Yes, it's been 4 months, 5 months, 3.5 years, 6 days and 7 nights.
There's no time to further.
That is true. What's that Harrison Ford movie with Calista Flockhart? 6 days and 7 nights? That's
Anne Heche, I think. He's married to Calista Flockhart.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry. I only know that movie as a VHS my grandma owned. So, but yes, it's been a while. I moved across country and still dealing with life, so I did not have time to go into the further. And as you can see, it's just me and Bryden. Charlie is taking a break from the pod for the time being, but he will be coming back on every once in a while. I literally live like 30 minutes away from him, so he just needs a break. We have Insidious and Insidious Chapter 2 that we are covering today. And then we have 2 more from Film District, and then we are done with this miniseries before we do an intermission and then go on to another one. But I don't know what else I don't want to be like, well, let me tell you what I've been up to. No, fuck that. We're going into the further. Okay, so first movie we are covering today, Insidious from 2010. This premiered at TIFF September 2010. Released in the U.S. April 1st, 2011. That is such a long wait. I feel like a movie that, even though it is Film District and it's not like I believe Chapter 3 is, by that time, it's a Sony, no, Chapter 3 is Focus Features. The Last Key is Sony Pictures. No, it's Universal. Which one is Sony Pictures? Are any of them Sony Pictures?
Well, it was weird. I was watching a movie on a couple of places just trying to get a copy of it because both, I think, the DVD copies at my library were checked out and it wasn't on a streaming service I had immediate access to. But one version I watched of Insidious Chapter 2, it opened with the one version opened with the Film District thing, another opened with the Sony Pictures releasing, but both of them had the Stage 6, a Sony Pictures company thing with it.
Right.
Yeah,
because all the Film District movies, they released as Sony on home video, so that's where I got mixed up. Yeah, because Red Door, it's just Blumhouse Pictures, I think. I don't know.
Oh.
But yeah, it's very odd that it took 7 months for this to come out. Even though it wasn't immediate, a big thing, but usually a big movie like this, which wasn't a big movie until it came out, but usually a big horror movie that premieres at TIFF, it would be in a week later and it's going to be in theaters. It seems like one of those, but
looking at the Midnight Madness lineup from that year, we looked at this actually recently, just a few nights ago when we were on a call together. We saw what are the other movies that came out there? Were there other big movies that played in Midnight Madness? And the answer is no, not really. There was John Carpenter's The Ward, which I think comes out summer 2011,
big movies,
very limited release, and then Super by James Gunn, which I guess he gets Guardians of the Galaxy a few years after that. But then it's kind of.
I don't think it's because of Super.
Right. Vanishing on 7th Street by Brad Anderson, who is one of those guys who seemed like he was going to be a guy for a minute, and now kind of just does a lot of straight to streaming stuff. Some of it good, but
he did The Call, right?
Yep, that's a couple years later. And then I think Beirut is his last theatrical release, if I'm not mistaken. He does a lot of Netflix and streaming movies now.
Right. What's his follow up to The Machinist? Machinist.
What is that? That is it Stonehurst Asylum or is it Vanishing on 7th Street? Hang on a sec. I know he also does a lot of TV. Oh, it's Trans-Siberian, which is not the best. That's a train set thriller with Woody Harrelson and Emily Mortimer.
Yeah, because I remember when Machinist came out and watched it and everybody was gaga for it and it was just what's this next movie going to be? And then that came out and it was just oh, well, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. Midnight Madness, what else we got?
Yeah, we got Stakeland by Jim Mickle, who's also another kind of indie horror guy. He did We Are Who We Are, which I've heard is good. I think that's what the title is, or maybe it's We Are What We Are, but it's Julia Garner and Bill Sage, about cannibals. He did Cold in July with Michael C. Hall and Sam Shepard and Don Johnson, which is a thriller mystery. That one, I like parts of that. And then he also did a Netflix movie, In the Shadow of the Moon with Boyd Holbrook, which has to do with like supernatural stuff and like people's like brains leaking out of their ears.
Sure.
And then Fubar 2, which is like a Canadian comedy sequel, which I've never seen. Fire of Conscience by Dante Lamb. The Butcher, the Chef, and the Swordsman by Warshan. And Bun Raku by Guy Moshi, which I think is like part of like Josh Hartnett's like wilderness period, I think, of like where he's just like doing like a lot of movies internationally that don't get wide releases. But yeah. Oh, and something called Red Nights by Julien Carbon and Laurent Courtiode.
There they are.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's another Midnight Madness lineup of the past 15 years that exists even less than this, because
I would have to like do an in-depth dive on that. But yeah.
Fucking Insidious. Let's just do this. No. I feel like I mean it probably is like that for most of them, where it's just like 2 or 3 movies you realize, and then unfortunately a few that just like never got distribution, and a few that are just like, oh, that came out, yeah.
Well, I mean, I talked to you about that Joseph Kahn movie they played at Midnight Madness, Ick, which it got released by Regal Cinemas, like distributed in the States, and it's like you watch it and you're like, oh, this is why I haven't heard much about it. It's not good, but oh well.
Okay. Released in the U.S. April 1st, 2011 in 2,408 theaters, debuted at number 3. It maxed out at 2,419 theaters. Budget, $1.5 million. Opening weekend, $13.2 million. Domestic gross of $54 million. Overall gross of $99.8 million. God damn! Woo! No wonder they've made 5 and they have 2 in the making. And they tried to take that shit on Broadway, but... And DVD and Blu-ray sales of $14.2 million. People love that Tiny Tim Demon. Top 5 films that weekend. Wow, I've seen none of these besides Insidious. Number 1, Hop.
Yep.
Number 1, Hop. Okay. Source Code.
Saw that in theaters. I have fond memories of that one. I've seen it a couple of times. Yeah.
Okay. Insidious. A Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Roderick Rules.
Seen that movie twice.
And Limitless.
Yeah, didn't see that one in theaters because I think I was too young to see it at the time, but I did catch it on cable when I was like a teenager one weekend. Like, yeah, it's fine. I mean, that was also made into a TV show, and it's like a weird like Bradley Cooper movie star sort of thing. Yeah, I don't know.
Source Code, that's Gyllenhaal, right?
Yes, and Vera Farmiga and Jeffrey Wright, Michelle Monaghan, directed by Duncan Jones, who seemed like he was going to be a guy for a minute, and then he did Warcraft, and things ended there. He did Mute as well, but yeah, not really ended things.
Yeah. Isn't Warcraft the thing where it made like $3 million in the U.S., but overseas it made like $600 million?
I mean, I guess we have Google right here. Let's look this up.
I think it is one of those. I think it was also, something similar to that, where it's like The Mummy made like nothing in the U.S., but made like hundreds of millions overseas.
Crikey. Yeah, okay. Wikipedia, budget, or box office, this must be global, $439.1 million, but domestic, yes, $47,361,290.
That's insane. 10% of its box office just from the U.S. Wow. And that's where all the nerds are, but I guess not. Hop. Yeah, sure. The only movie, I've seen is Insidious. This might be the only time where we've had a top 5 where somebody on the pod has seen all of them. But I've only seen Insidious, and I saw it in theaters, and I will tell you all about it because I think about it quite often, that experience. Number 1 song in the U.S. this week, Born This Way by Lady Gaga. Number 1 song in Canada this week is Born This Way by Lady Gaga.
Good.
Yeah. Plot description for Google. This one is very short. The plot description for Insidious Part 2 is like 3 paragraphs. It's ridiculous. Parents take drastic measures when it seems their new home is haunted and their comatose son is possessed by a malevolent entity. I mean, that's what it says on the can. Written by Lee Winnell. Prior to this, wrote 2004. Wrote Saw 2004. Listen to our episode. Plus,
in a way, Saw wrote the year of 2004.
That's true.
And the years after that.
That is true. If I remember anything, it's the advertisements after like Saw 3. They were just like, if it's October or if it's Halloween, you know it's Saw. They were just like, hey man, you're gonna come. Who cares? Plus the first 2 sequels to Saw. Dead Silence 2007. Did the treatment for the Saw video game in 2009, which I remember liking. I remember playing that. I rented that whenever Paranormal Activity came out, so I remember seeing that in theaters at midnight, which back then you had to see Thursday night at midnight. Yeah, I remember coming home being very scared, taking some sleeping medication because I was very terrified, and playing Saw, the video game.
Interesting you mentioned Paranormal Activity as well, because Insidious Chapter 2 opens with an Oren Peli production, director of Insidious. Or, no, not Insidious, Paranormal Activity.
Paranormal Activity.
Good gravy.
Yeah. The documentary about Paranormal Activity, which I think dropped like right around the time that Next of Kin dropped on Paramount Plus, that's a very interesting documentary because, one, it's better than any of the Paranormal Activity movies, and two, Oren Peli was just like, yeah, and after Paranormal Activity got big, I was just like, cool, I'm never making another movie again.
He's made one, I think, called like Area 51. Yeah.
And that movie got like held back for like years and then eventually dumped. But like he was just like, yeah, man, I could just be like a fucking producer and not do shit and get paid. And I was just like, you know what, salute to you, man. After this, Lee Winnell wrote Insidious Chapter 2, 2013, Cooties and the Mule from 2014. The Insidious sequels, he wrote them all besides The Red Door, although he has a story by credit on that. He directed and wrote Insidious Chapter 3. Did I do this drunk? He also wrote and directed Upgrade in 2018. That's where I was mixed up. The Invisible Man in 2020, and recently The Wolfman this year. Also acted in The Bye Bye Man and Keep Watching in 2017, two classic films. I'm a Liar also. Directed by James Wan. Prior to this, very similar as far as Lee Winnell's credits, but prior to this, Saw 2004, Dead Silence, and Dead Sentence in 2007. After this, Conjuring 2013, Insidious Chapter 2 2013. He loved to double up on movies. Furious 7 in 2015, Conjuring 2 in 2016, Aquaman 2018, Malignant 2021, and recently Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom 2023. What is he doing next? Is he doing anything next? He might be doing another Aquaman.
Oh. I heard the last one was so good. I'm being sarcastic. Yeah.
I mean, the only way that I would kind of want to watch them was like, you're telling me Patrick Wilson is like second build? I mean, maybe. Speaking of starring, Patrick Wilson as Josh, which no man who has kids is named Josh. You are Josh when you were 18 and then you stop existing. Prior to this, Angels in America in 2003, Hard Candy in 2005, Little Children in 2006, Lakeview Terrace in 2008. What a 2008 ass rental movie that was when I saw that. Watchmen in 2009. Have you seen Watchmen in 2009?
Many years ago. I think I watched like the really long cut of it. Like that's like
that
3
had
hours
the animated long. One? That had the animated
shit. I don't remember if they had it. I just remember being kind of struck even as a teenager who was watching a lot of violent movies, being like, this is like really gruesome. Like
oh wait. Yeah. There's the director's cut and then there's the ultimate cut. And the ultimate cut has the animated 30-minute Tales from the comic book that one of the characters in it that like in the actual graphic novel goes into that. They put that into the movie too for the ultimate cut. The director's cut is also like 25 minutes longer, and the ultimate cut is another 30 minutes longer. It's like
so I think I watched the one that was 25 minutes longer because like it was like about 3 hours, I think, whereas I think the theatrical was like maybe 240 or something like that. And then like, but no, I do not remember there being animated sequences in that movie. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I don't feel like I need to watch the one with the animated sequences, but cool, it's out there, I guess. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was so fucking hyped for it, and then I watched it and I loved it, and then throughout the years I was like, that's kind of not good, right? And then I rewatched it, I was like, I mean, it's basically the comic on screen, but the problem is it's basically just the comic on screen, like, and oh god, what's his name who plays Ozymandias? He is a terrible decision for Ozymandias because he shows up on screen and you're like, oh, it's that guy. He did it. and yeah, he actually did. I will say that Jackie Earle Haley is pretty fucking fantastic in it. And Patrick Wilson works very good as a dweeb in Watchmen 2009. After this, Young Adult in 2011. 16 episodes of A Gifted Man from 2011 to 2012. Where were we?
You know, in a way, Josh from Insidious is a gifted man, too.
This is
really
true.
Think about it.
This is true. I was curious, like, when I was watching Insidious 1, 2, and the classic film, The Red Door, and, like, right around the time he's doing Conjuring as well, I was just like, they're very similar characters, but very different at the same time, because obviously just, like, a dad, But like Insidious, it's like he has like almost like no confidence, and also is just undermining Rose Byrne the entire time because he doesn't want to admit anything is wrong. And then Conjuring, you're just like, oh, there's ghosts, and we're gonna fuck him up. But
other interesting thing is when I'd forgotten this from rewatching the first Insidious, the scene where he's like still being a skeptic, even though we're like an hour into the movie. He's like saying to Lin Shaye and Angus Sampson and Lee Winnell, he's like saying like that like he thinks like basically calls them like hucksters, says like, oh yeah, like we were gonna like come scan your house and there's ghosts, that'll be $600 please. You're just like exploiting us. And I'm thinking, and then you played Ed Warren in the Conjuring,
biggest grifters ever.
Exactly. There's so much like even like to this day, like when I was like at my theater where we had Conjuring last rites, there was like one of my coworkers was like kind of uncomfortable with the idea of these movies doing so well, making them look cool when they were like pretty bad people by a lot of accounts. It's but I mean, look, I say that as someone who likes the first two Conjuring movies that I've seen.
I did too. I watched those movies and I'm just like, I wish they were my parents. And people were just like, no, those are not actual people. And I was like, I don't care. Vera Farmiga, I've seen her cover Slipknot live. All right, I want her to be my mom. Where are we? Yeah, Conjuring. I almost forgot some shit. After this, I forgot. I always forget he's in Prometheus 2012, the greatest film of the 2010s. One episode of Girls in 2013. The Conjuring in 2013. I fucking love The Conjuring so much. 10 episodes of Fargo in 2015, and another episode of Girls in 2017, which is a fucking fantastic episode. And was in Conjuring Last Ride and Jay Kelly this year. I saw Conjuring Last Ride on my birthday. It was forgettable. Rose Byrne as Renee. Prior to this, Star Wars Episode 2 in 2002. Troy and Wicker Park in 2004. Fuck! I forgot to watch Wicker Park. Oh, God. Shit. How am I going to live with myself? The Dead Girl and Marie Antoinette in 2006. Sunshine and 28 Weeks Later in 2008. Knowing in 2009. Get Him to the Greek in 2010. After this, Bridesmaids in 2011. Co-lead on Damages from 2007 to 2012. I believe she was nominated for Golden Globe twice. Neighbors to the 2014. Spy and The Meddler in 2015, Instant Family in 2018, 9 episodes of Miss America in 2020, is currently on the show Platonic on the very real streaming service Paramount Plus, Apple TV Plus, which I saw an article that they're gonna rename it to just Apple TV now.
Yeah.
And also, I believe it's coming out when we're recording this tomorrow. If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. Also starring Lin Shaye, our Lord and Savior Lin Shaye, Lee Winnell, Angus Sampson, and Barbara Hershey. Trivia. James Wan made this movie to prove that he can make a movie without the level of violence found in his previous films. Wan said he was very proud of movies like Saw, but felt that the film, specifically the violence, put some people off and made them hesitant to work with him. That is true, because basically everything after... I mean, the man... there's definitely got to be people... There's like, you're telling me the guy that made Saw and Dead Silence and Death Sentence wants to have a meeting and be like, I don't think so. I did see there was one interview with both of them. I forget if it was for Insidious 1 or 2, but they were just like, oh, we've written many other horror movies, but nobody's going to want to, fund those because we're just the horror guys. And be like, all right, you did make Dead Sentence and Death Silence in the first, 1 year. So it's like, I get it, but also... You haven't exactly made those movies, or I don't know.
But it's also funny we're a little over 20 years removed from the first Saw movie, and it's funny. I think it was like a couple years ago, like at our group chat, our friend Greg messaged us and said they're watching like the first Saw, and then I think after they watched the movie, they were like, cute. And I think maybe just sort of I think they were maybe more referring to just because that's like a modestly budgeted movie, and you're seeing like Juan and like Winnell do a lot with a little and everything. But it is it is funny to look back at a time where it's like that movie felt so edgy at the time. And it did have this very, even as someone who had not seen that movie for many years until we did it for our show, it had had this reputation. It's oh, it's so fucked up and twisted, bro. And
it's really not.
But then you watch it and I think also especially because movies have just I think gotten. Either movies have gotten more violent or I've just absorbed a lot more violent movies. So I'm just kind of and also I guess that movie doesn't show as much in the first time around, and then it gets more explicit as it goes on. But it's just it's funny how maybe we've changed as a culture. But yeah.
Well, there's a lot of intimation in Saw, not because they were just oh, well, it's more terrifying to intimate than to actually show it. It's like, no, they didn't have a budget to show it. Like, they show like 0.3 seconds of my man cutting off his foot, and then it's just like, that's the best you got. But like, his reaction to doing it is more visceral than actually just showing it.
Yeah, the budget thing is true, because then you get into a thing of like Death Sentence, which is not a horror movie, but an actual movie, and it's like Kevin Bacon's like shooting guys with shotguns, like their legs are getting blown off while they fly like 5 feet back into the air. It's, yeah.
On describing the approach of the film's soundtrack, director James Wan explained, quote, "We wanted a lot of scare sequences to play really silent, but what I like to do with the soundtrack is set you on edge with a really loud sort of atonal screeching violin score." Oh, really? Mixing with some really weird piano bangs, and take that away, and all of a sudden you're like, what just happened there? I will say it's in my initial thoughts, but like, there is a lot of scares that are just played just matter-of-factly. Like, little leprechaun boy dancing to Tiny Tim, like just jumping out of the cabinet, like that is like it. There's a lot that I think this movie is fine overall. There's a lot where I'm just like, that is, y'all are really calling your shot, like in a lot of good ways. The film was shot in just 3 weeks. The film was originally going to be named The Further. No.
Man, imagine them trying to work around that title for all the sequels. Is like, the furtherer you go, or whatever.
Now you see me, the further you... Yeah. The further. No, but if the movie sucked, then the articles about it would be like, the further you can be away from the further, the better. Yeah. Ethan Hawke turned down the role of Josh, but he eventually starred in Sinister 3 years later, so still in the Blumhouse family. Although this is the first Insidious film, the subsequent sequels go back and forth in time, making this the third film in the chronology. That is too much work. This was the first film distributed by Film District, and it's, I think, their second biggest movie behind Olympus Has Fallen. Makes
sense, yeah.
Or Insidious Chapter 2? It's definitely Insidious Chapter 2, actually. Although the old woman demon is played by a man, it was not until they started working on the sequel that the filmmakers decided the character was actually a man dressed as a woman, which we'll get into that. Yep. But it's saying that the first one was actually played by a man, made up to look like a woman, but that wasn't a part of it until they had to find some very fucking weird way to incorporate
Is it the composer, Joseph Bashar, who plays that particular demon? I saw his name in the credits. Is like, he is credited. Lipstick Face Demon is what Bashar is cast as. That's the... Or is that someone else?
That's the Darth Maul demon. That's like the main demon. We're talking about like the, it looks like Helen Mirren and Winchester, you know? That's my frame of reference.
Hey, sweetie.
Morning, guys.
He's not in a coma. They don't know what to call it. I went into Dalton's room. There was something in there with him. I know someone who can help.
We took tri-field and EMF readings of the whole house. Wiring, alarm clocks.
I don't think bad wiring is the problem here.
I want to leave. I want to leave this house. What is it?
It's not the house that's haunted. It's your son.
Okay, that's all the trivia I have. Initial thoughts. I have a history with this film, and it's a movie that I think is fine. But I remember me and my friend went to go see this in theaters. I actually didn't know anything about it. Around this time, I watched movies, but I was not a complete virgin loser like I am now with how many movies I watch. I was definitely still more into video games than movies at the time. So I really didn't know anything about it. And people in the theater were acting as if like the demon was somehow in the theater, like jumping up and down. I saw people running out of the theater, like insanity was going on in the theater. It was so crazy in there that a woman I did not know next to me was like so scared and touched my arm and go, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah, why?" And he goes, "You're not screaming." And I was like, okay, man. Like, and then you go back and watch it, and like there was like the first like 35, 40 minutes is like zero scares. It's mostly just a drama. And then there's like when Barbara Hershey shows up and you see the demon behind Patrick Wilson, and then I think there's like 2 more scares. So like there's the little leprechaun boy with the Tiny Tim. There's like that, and then another one. And then there's like another 35, 40 minutes like with really no scares, and then Lin Shaye shows up, and then it basically starts moving. But like that, I have never been in another movie theater that was like a 10th like as wild as that. Like it is unfucking believable. And I walked out of that and I was like, yeah, I don't really like that. I don't know why, but it's not that good, and people were acting like it was that crazy. But it was one of those that like I remember like the next year, I remember it was just like, let me watch it again because I'm really upset that everybody likes it and I do not. And I watched it, I was like, I guess I can see it, but I'm still not connecting with it. And then a few years ago, I think I rewatched it, and then that's when I watched Chapter 2 and then 3 and 4 for the first time. And I was like, okay, at best, I think it's fine. I respect a lot of what it's doing. This time around, which I don't know if I clocked it last time, but there is so many weird and interesting camera shots in this movie. It is shot so weird. Like, I wish there was more that I could find about that. It was just like, there's so many angles that feel like the camera shouldn't be there. It's moving in a way that is really weird and puts you on edge. And I think that's like the scariest part of the entire movie. It was just like, I don't know, there's a lot of weird camera movements in this, and I think it's like completely void in Chapter 2, where it's like shot with nothing interesting about it whatsoever. But yeah, there's so many weird camera angles in this movie. The like depth of field is really, I don't know. I will say bad thing about it. This movie looks like ass. Like ass.
The lighting is the thing that, like, because we're talking about the camera work is good, but the lighting is just like, it looks like everyone is a ghost. Like everyone looks undead in the movie. It's very strange.
Because it's like early digital, which we've dealt with a few times in the Film District miniseries, but like this is bad, and also some of it I know is a choice. Like the scene where Rose Byrne goes out, Leprechaun Boy, that's his name. Like she looks pale and gray in that entire scene.
And like it's even before like it would be one thing if like that's what the movie looked like once their son like falls into like, you know, sort of the limbo state where he's like
30 minutes in.
Yeah, but like it looks like that from the beginning. Like it like, and like it's just like even scenes where like, I mean, it's funny, like it's like they're walking around the house at night and like all the lights are off and it looks great, and Patrick Wilson turns on some more lights, still looks great. It's just like, it just looks like a slightly brighter gray color, and it's just like, wow, this looks drab. And then I do think that there's like some really good camera movements, but I will say that the exterior shots of the house where like the camera's just sort of like gliding past did make me think this looks like a slightly like just like the, you know, House Hunters haunted version or whatever. Like just like the shows are showing. It's like, which house do you want to?
Just like inside of this house, yeah. There's one scene where I like audibly like groaned like in disgust. It was like as soon as Dalton goes into the coma and there's a scene in the hospital, it looks putrid. Like it looks like an NCIS episode. It looks fucking disgusting. It's so ugly. Other positives, fucking Patrick Wilson is never bad. I very much like, even though Rose Byrne is kind of playing the wife that's hysterical and the husband doesn't believe her type of thing, but I mean, I like Rose Byrne, so
yes. I wish that they did a little more with her character, where like she's like at the end of the movie, she's like saying to Wilson, it's like, you're so much stronger than me. I'm thinking, okay, like give this character, give yourself a little more credit. He's been like basically like telling you, none of this shit is real for like the last hour of the movie, so it's like, give yourself some credit. But yeah, it's more so the thing where I'll give her leeway because it's Rose Byrne. But yeah, but Lin Shaye is so fucking good in this, and she's so good in this because of the fact that like in Chapter 2 when she shows up, it's like an MCU character showing up. Like they give her that type of reveal because she's so fucking awesome. And then they built 2 prequels on her, and she fucking somehow returns for the Red Door. Like she's so fucking good. What's the equivalent of Thor's hammer? It's like the blue lantern that they hold in the further.
And then yeah, Barbara Hershey, I mean, she gets like 2 scenes based. I mean, the scene where she is at the dinner table and talking to them and then looks and sees the demon behind, like that's the best shit. But Lee Winnell and Angus Simpson, they're fine. I guess. Angus's entire thing is he eats. That's hilarious.
And they're constantly like bickering with each other about like who knows more on the job. And, yeah, it's a little too much for my taste, I would say. But like, especially like in 2, I feel like it undermines some of the seriousness of the scares. Like, especially
in 2, they're basically the fucking leads, but we'll get there. Brian, had you seen this movie prior? What'd you think?
Yes, I was looking back to see specifically when I watched it. I watched this in July 2020, a very normal time. In between rewatches of National Treasure and True Lies, for some reason, don't know what was going on there. But I was aware of this movie when it came out because I would have been young when this came out.
Okay, thank you. I was about to say, don't you fucking say it.
But I must have seen the trailer for this in front of like maybe Source Code, some PG-13 thriller I must have been seeing had an ad for this, and it looked really, really scary. Like the trailer, I think is like it starts with the teaser where it's like the metronome, and then like you're getting flashes of like scary stuff. And I don't know, maybe it's also because it's about a kid who has bad stuff happening to him while he's sleeping. Maybe that scared me as a kid who had trouble sleeping for a while. But it's and then like I think I avoided it for a long time because I wasn't really into scary movies until I was much older. But then, when did I see this as a point? What's up?
I was thinking that I was just like, oh yeah, 2010. So I was like a junior, but then it's April 1st. So this was a month before I graduated high school.
Wow.
Which, wild. Because the first movie I remember rewatching in theaters after I graduated, I'm pretty sure it was The Hangover Chapter 2. Is it Chapter 2? Is it
That's
Part
May
2?
2011. Yeah. I remember this period very well because I was like, seeing a lot of movies, and even if I wasn't seeing them because I was like not old enough, like I was watching. This was Ebert Presents at the Movies was on at the time with Chris Lemire and Ignatius Vyshevetsky. I was reading Roger Ebert's reviews, so I was like very aware of like what was like going on around this time with movies. Yeah,
I remember seeing Super 8 like a week after I graduated, 2 weeks after I graduated.
I saw that movie 3 times in theaters. I fucking loved that movie when I was a kid. Yeah.
Wow. Remember being 18?
Yes.
Man, that was 15 years ago. Okay, I'm gonna have an existential crisis. Please keep going.
But yeah, I'm trying to think of like, I think I must have seen this one. I'm trying to think of like what other James Wan movies I'd seen prior to this. I mean, I saw Furious 7 when I was in high school. I skipped Aquaman in its theatrical release. Is this like my second James Wan?
I only saw Saw before this. I saw Dead Silence and Death Sentence when we did Saw. That was the first time I seen it.
It's just funny to think about because I feel like this is like, I don't know. I guess he's only made like 10 movies or 10 or 11 movies across like 20 years, so it's not that much compared to some. But anyway, I liked this fine. Similar to you, I remember enjoying it. The thing that I remember sticking to me is I don't think it looked quite as good as like his other movies. Like the lighting. This is the thing that I think we're really talking about. It looks like really dingy and like not even in a mood way. Like it's kind of just like looks leached of color, and like that's something that I think that is not a problem in as much of his movies. I mean, say what you will about like the colors in Saw, but like there is like scenes where it's like I feel like it's not just like leached of atmosphere, like, you know, whether it's like a scene that has like sort of a green or like antiseptic filter, it doesn't feel just kind of like washed out. I do think even though I think like the characters are pretty thin on paper, I think Wilson and Byrne are convincing in their chemistry as a married couple, whether it's like them like sharing little jokes like when they're like, you know, getting ready for bed or whatever, or like the scene where like they have the argument where he's like just staying late working at school. And then it's interesting, this movie's PG-13. It has one fuck where he's like saying, you know, I'm just dealing with it in my own fucking way and everything.
Oh,
the way
right.
that he drops it in that conversation where like it's like that's sort of what ends the argument and everything, where she just like gets fed up with him and everything. That felt like it didn't feel like a movie. It's like we get one time to use this curse word and everything. It felt like a person where it's like they don't normally curse and then like, but like just out of frustration and exhaustion, like he just sort of like lets it slip, just like to sort of like, you know, do a move and everything. I like Lin Shaye a lot. I think it's interesting, you know, having her character be like, you know, kind of very genial with other people and everything. Like she does try to make this seem like a, you know, a somewhat eccentric but also like grounded character. And also like the way that she reacts to some of the horrors and everything, like especially with those big wide eyes. Like she really makes her reactions to the horror feel like convincing. Like she makes you believe the seriousness of the stakes and everything. When Alan Sampson, I could do without them. Or they're fine as characters, but like I just feel like the jokes are just like they're fucking like dead air. Like I don't need them. And it distracts from the seriousness. But then I guess also if you're thinking if the audience you saw the movie with, if the laughs were not there, everyone would be just like tearing their hair out. If there weren't any laughs,
they already were.
Yeah,
the police were called. All right.
You're right too that like my memory of the score is like being so fucking loud, which it is
so loud.
It is in a lot of spots, but you're right that there are also moments where it's like kind of like it's like the high strings, but it's like they're playing them very faintly.
Well, in the scene where is it? I think Rose Byrne wakes up and she hears my man walking like outside of her window,
which that's really effective. Where he's like pacing back and forth, and then like next time he turns the corner, he's in the room. That's really cool.
Right?
Yeah.
Or maybe it's the one before where she goes into the baby's room and he's like behind the window.
Yes, and the music it takes a beat to like almost come in. Yes, that's really effective. Yeah. It's like the movie realizing it along with the character. Yeah, it's that's really well done. There's a lot of, I mean, it's a basic trick, but like the there and back again sort of camera movements where it's like the camera moves and then all of a sudden like you'll be like they'll turn away. Like I think it's even in the climax of the movie when like he's in the further and he sees the demon and like he looks up and he sees him up there and then the camera moves down and he's right there. That's I like all that stuff. And they must have had a hell of a time using the fog machine. That is,
dude.
Yeah, it looks cool.
As somebody who's 5 weeks free from vaping, I was just like, man, I want to be in the further. Everybody vaping. I would say that like all the evil people in the further, they remind me of like the people you kill in BioShock. They just all look like stuck in time, like in the 40s, 50s, or some such shit.
Oh yeah, I did think of another video game when he finds like the crying spirit in the wall. And he's like trying to approach and everything. It made me think of Left 4 Dead, where like when you like sometimes you play those
not the wish,
and then like it'd be like
oh god,
like get on your face. Yeah, I thought of that for sure. There's a lot of good camera work in the movie. I mean, I like a lot of like the slow zooms and like sort of the shot reverse shot where like it really makes you feel like you're kind of closing in on the characters. I like all the Dutch angles. But yeah, I just wish like the colors were a little bit livelier. I like this fine. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
It's also very hard to anybody to deliver the line is Dalton's an astral projector just like his father.
Yes.
And then he
we
goes,
call them travelers, I think.
Me? Yeah. Astral projector. Yeah. I don't know if there's not a much plot that we can get into. I mean, there is, but it's just like, well, this is just silly. But I like the seance scene where she has like on the gas mask. Like that's pretty cool.
And especially I like that Lee Winnell, who's writing out everything that she's saying, he like is writing like help, and then like but then like when he switches to writing what the demon's saying, it like changes to like much like scrawling. It's like you will get your guts ripped out. He's writing so into the marker breaks.
Yeah,
I like that scene. I think also like a lot of it like. And again, like I do think the writing is sometimes thin, but I do think the way that like the characters react to all of it does sort of give you like an emotional grounding, even as like the story gets more outlandish. Like even like in like the initial scene when like the son falls into the coma, like Wilson, like the way that he's like sort of jokingly trying to wake his son, he's like, "Hey, get up," and then he's like, "Dalton," like the way that like the sort of like the horror like comes to realization that he's like something's really wrong. I think that's really well played.
I think the demon is not scary. He's just goofy.
Yeah, especially like with the singing.
Everything up to who mentions that? Oh, it's Barbara Hershey talking about the dream that she had going into Dalton's room, and the door slowly opens and you see the demon. It's like, "What do you want?" And then he points, and then Barbara Hershey's like, "He said that he wanted Dalton." I was like, "Yeah, I got that," but like that scene's good. The scare behind Patrick Wilson's good, but. Even when you go into the further and he's in his little lair sharpening his fingers like a little freak, like that's fine. But then once you like see him and he's like crawling on the walls and he's got like a snake tongue, and I'm like, all right, man. Like,
yes, that's a bit much.
I was like, at this point, it's just like this is a demon. This is a motherfucker I shoot in Resident Evil. Like this isn't scary. But everything before that, like yeah, I can get it. But On some motherfuckers climbing on the walls and stuff, and I was like, all right, man. But it doesn't really. He's not in chapter 2. I don't know if he's in last. I don't remember if he's in chapter 3. Dylan McDermott will have to tell me about that. Last Key, I don't remember. He is somewhat in the Red Door. There's like a flash of him, but it's like not the main demon. I don't know if you know this, but actually the main demon in the Red Door is a familial trauma. I don't know if you know that.
Hello, what's the trauma?
You can tell that it's the Insidious movie that's made in the 2020s, because it's just like, what's more scarier than like demons and whatnot? It's like not loving your father. And it's just like, all right, man. But any other let's see here. I will say it is ballsy to end the movie like on a cliffhanger, which chapter 2 definitely, it does the Halloween 2 thing where it just picks up immediately right where that picks up off, but it does kind of end not that satisfying, I would say.
Yeah, and it's like so much of the violence, it's like supernatural and everything, where it's like it is like creatures are doing it and everything, whereas like this is like it looks like you're just, I know he's possessed, but it looks like you're just watching Patrick Wilson choke a woman to death, like, and it's like that in itself. And I think chapter 2 kind of plays off of that sort of creepiness, where it's like with the context removed, it just looks like a guy like attacking innocent people and everything, which is like in its own way like disturbing. Yeah, it's I do think Rose Byrne's reaction shot where she finds like covering her mouth and gasping, and then like the sort of dolly zoom and everything, where like the entire background just sort of like kind of like recedes and approaches us at the same time. Yeah, that's really good. But like I said, I was also joking with you, like the color palette of the movie is so weird, where it's like when Lin Shaye notices like the photograph handoff with Patrick Wilson is like, I guess she notices his hands look especially dirty. I'm like, it really doesn't look that different than any of the scenes where he's like a supposedly normal dude. Like his skin looks gray.
I was like, oh, he's kind of dead looking, but we all look kind of dead looking. Yeah. It's 2010. But yeah, that like, I don't know how far be it from me to be like, you know what I would have done with the ending, but like, to just end with like him behind her and be like, I'm right here, and then it cuts to black. It's just like, that's not really satisfying, which I know there's a lot of horror movies where like the evil's dead and then Jason jumps out of the water or Carrie comes out of the grave and whatnot, but it just felt a little off. I don't know. And also Lin Shaye's dead face is kind of hard to take seriously. I'm sorry. But yeah, any other final thoughts before we get into chapter 2?
Oh, I mean, this sort of takes us right into chapter 2, but it's like the thing of like, where are the other kids that when all this is going on? And it's like, I guess chapter 2 answers, I guess they're saying with Barbara Hershey, but then, I mean, that movie also gets weird where it's like, I feel like you would not want to have the kids around when all this terrible shit is going on. And they kind of just like don't seem to include other people in the loop. But yeah, it's very strange. I'd like just completely forgotten. I vaguely remember there being a baby, but like I forgot that there was like the other brother. That's very strange. That I've forgotten that.
I would have loved a sequel that was just like, parents, both mom and dad only cared about you growing up because you got into a coma, and then he's the real demon. But really, if you watch The Red Door, he turns into like a SoundCloud rapper. I'm not kidding.
What if there's like Identity, where it's like revealed that he's like, it like shows flashbacks where it's like him causing all the mayhem throughout the movie.
Oh god, what if every movie ended like an Identity? That's how the Bruce Springsteen biopic is gonna end. Okay, let's move on to Insidious Chapter 2, which came out in 2013, which technically 2 years later, 3 years since the TIFF premiere, but yeah, pretty elongated, but actually not just 2 years, but in the trivia they talk about what took so long, quote unquote. Released in the US on September 13th, 2013 in 3,049 theaters at number 1, maxed out at 3,155 theaters. This made like 70 million more than the first one, which is insane. Budget $5 million, opening weekend $40.2 million, domestic gross $83.5 million, and overall gross of $161.9 million.
Can I also blow your mind?
Yeah.
Insidious in 2011, cinema score B. Insidious Chapter 2, cinema score B+.
Oh, fuck off. People suck. Gross
Red Door got a C+ though.
That's better than Chapter 2. Come on now. I mean, not by much, but grossed $20 million on its opening day, which was the record at the time for biggest September opening day, which is now like number 20. Like, it has like spots 1 through 10, but DVD and Blu-ray sales of $9.6 million. Let's see, top 5 films this weekend. Let's see, I've seen 2. Okay, this is also still Jesus. I was working at a movie theater at this time. I do remember because of number 2 on this list. Top 5 films of the weekend: Insidious Chapter 2, The Family.
Yeah, I saw that in theaters. That movie sucks.
Yeah, I remember cleaning up after screenings of The Family, which is like there was 3 people. I remember Prisoners came out at the similar time. Fucking Gravity, I believe.
That's
somewhat.
October, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I worked there for like September, October, I think. Machete Kills, I believe.
Oh, yeah. That's a stinker, too. I caught up with that one on video on demand, I think, like the following
I haven't
summer.
even seen Machete. It seems...
It's fine.
Yeah. I'm not a Rod Rodriguez guy, but... God, what else? I mean... Terrible job. I mean, not the worst, but sorry, The Family, Riddick,
which I've heard is good. Like, I've never seen any of those movies, but I've heard people say that one's actually totally rock solid.
I saw Pitch Black in like 5th or 6th grade. I remember digging it. The only exposure I've had to Chronicles of Riddick is the poster in 50 Shades of Grey, but what I have not played is a Chronicle Riddick video game for Xbox, which I've heard is like fucking phenomenal. And of course, number 4, Lee Daniels is Butler, and We're the Millers.
Yeah, which are holdovers from from August. And it's funny to think about. It's like those would not be in the top 5 if those movies came out today because they'd just be on streaming. They would be out like they'd be like, get this shit out of here. We got to make room for for The Family.
How is The Family number 2? That is the most streaming ass movie.
I mean, early September is like just like it can be kind of a weird time for movies, but yeah.
And also, wasn't the thing of Riddick that like Vin Diesel like put up another mortgage on his house or some such shit, and it was just like, I'm putting up like all my money for this movie because I love this character so much.
And I guess he could do that because the Fast 5 and 6 had done so well, or Fast 4 through 6 had done so well. Like Fast and Furious 6 comes out May, I think, of that year. So yeah.
Okay. Oh, I remember when I worked at the movie theater, the Metallica movie that has my least favorite actor of all time came out.
Which I watched recently. It's bad. And I like a number of Metallica songs, but it's like basically just feels like them doing rushed versions of their own songs where it's like this feels like joyless. And then also like a bunch of dumbass pyrotechnics where they're like firing cannons and the stage is like pretending to be falling apart. And they're like, hey, we don't need all these pyrotechnics, man. Why don't we just play the music? And it's like, okay, fuck off. And then Dana Hunt's brought in on a skateboard and like then like fighting rioters. It's so stupid.
Who directed that?
Nimrod and Tal, who did Predators and Armored and Vacancy.
Vacancy Man. God, Vacancy kicks ass. Number 1 song in the US this week, Roar by Katy Perry. Number 1 song in Canada this week, Roar by Katy Perry. I cross-referenced both 2013 US and Canada. They're basically the same songs. Like, in a few years back, there used to be like some overlap, but now it's just like, nah, it's all the same. Plot description from Google. I will see you guys in 5 minutes whenever I'm done saying all of this. Soon after their showdown with evil spirits, that possess their sons, the Lamberts, Renee, played by Rose Byrne, and Josh, played by Patrick Wilson, are ready for their lives to return to normal. That's the end of it. Oh, shit. Oh, fuck. However, something still is seriously off, especially with Josh, who, unbeknownst to Renee, is possessed too. In order to free Josh's soul and finally defeat the malevolent forces around them, Lorraine Lambert, played by Barb Hershey, and her ghost-hunting friends, not really her friends, they're Lin Shaye's friends, investigate the past to save her family's future, which is like the worst fucking part of this movie, and it drags it down so terribly. Written again by Lee Winnell, directed again by James Wan, starring once again Patrick Wilson, Rose Byrne, Lee Winnell, Angus Simpson, and Barbara Hershey. Trivia. James Wan and Lee Winnell were apparently wishy-washy on if they'd do the sequel, and it wasn't announced until almost a year after the first one came out that they'd be returning. Wan felt that this sequel to Insidious was his way to do a proper continuation of the first film, unlike how he wasn't involved much in the sequels for Saw. Wan said that he pulled a lot from working on The Conjuring into this movie, citation needed, stating that I pulled things from Insidious that I applied to The Conjuring, and what I learned from The Conjuring I applied to Insidious Chapter 2. Buddy, I am not seeing that, but sure. I was originally slated for release on August 30th, 2013, then September 20th, and then
August 30th, honestly, seems like kind of the vibe for this movie. It's just like, look,
1000%.
If you have time before you go back to school, I guess you can see this movie. Yeah.
Originally slated for August 30th, then September 20th, and then some smart person was like, hey, dumbass, September 30th is a Friday. You know, Friday the 13th. And that person is now head of movies. He runs it all. When Specs and Tucker analyzed the footage of young Josh, the Panasonic VCR logo has been worn away in places so that it reads Panic instead. You can't fucking do that, dude. That's fucking nuts.
And I will say, we will cite this movie in another moment, I'm sure, when we're getting into the plot, but that was definitely the part where I'm like, oh, so Wan recycled this this for Malignant as well, because there's a lot of VHS exposition in that movie too.
That's true. Lindsay Syme portrays a younger version of Elise, Lynn Shay's character in the Insidious films. Because Lynn has such a distinctive voice, she was dubbed over Lindsay's. Yeah, that's a weird way to say it. You don't hear Lindsay's voice at all in the movie. A fucking deranged decision, because at no point watching that opening does it feel natural and not like somebody is limp syncing to Lynn Shay.
It's so weird. Yeah.
It's fucking weird. The UK trailer, I saw this and watched this, has footage of her without the overdub, and it would have been completely fine.
It's so distracting. It's just like one of those things, like, it's like we've seen movies with Lynn Shay, and like, you know, I don't exactly remember, but it's like, people's voices change like 30 years later. Like, I mean, I mentioned this to you before we go on to the call. Like, I watched Sinister for the first time. I'd never seen it. And there's scenes where Ethan Hawke in like 2012 is watching videotapes of himself, like interviews like that are supposed to be from 2002. And Ethan Hawke, you hear him on the interviews, and he sounds like Ethan Hawke from 2012. And like his voice has changed, like even in 10, 20 years later and everything. Like, it sounds like a lot like raspy, like a lot scratchier and everything. I don't say that as a critique. I love his voice, but like, it's just like, people age, and like, it doesn't just affect their face. Like, it's like you need to factor in other things that like get affected as you grow up and everything. It's so funny. I mean, yeah. I mean, it'd be very funny if they did that with I mean, they talk about this with they need to like shoot this, I guess, like with enough time to set like the kids didn't age out of the parts and everything. Would have been very funny if like Tyson was just like a full ass adult, but he's like, "Hi, mom, how you doing?" Like,
no, that'd be funny if Josh from the very first scene in the flashback was voiced by Patrick Wilson. Yes. When he's like 8 years old. Bottom of the barrel IMDb trivia fact. Oh, buddy. In this movie, as well as his predecessor, Insidious 2010, hey, I've watched that movie, Josh Lambert, played by Patrick Wilson, thank you, is pursued by ghosts who want to invade his physical body. That's a weird way to describe Insidious. This is the opposite way in A Gifted Man 2011, where Michael Holt, played by Patrick Wilson, is capable to see Anna Paul's ghost, played by Jennifer Ely, in order to better him as a doctor and as a person. Nobody asked. Oh, goodness. Not a trivia fact, but I just want to be a little shit. Here, let me send you this. Would you pull up the theatrical one-sheet poster for this? I just need to talk about how bad it is. I sent you that in the chat there.
Yeah, I guess this is the image of them locked in the laundry room at the end of the movie when they're trying to stop themselves from getting attacked by Patrick Wilson. But like, they have the credits at the top, and then the titles are like on the side. Unusual choice.
It's okay. So yeah, the credits up top because they couldn't like put it more. Here's the. It looks like Rose Byrne is terrified of crediting the crew. like it's weird. It's a weird angle. You don't see anything. There's no background like of a weird shadow or anything. The title is on its side. The tagline is like not even in the center. It will take what you love most. Sure. Also, like, the boy's face that we're seeing isn't Dalton. It's the second kid, which that's his name. I don't think Rose Byrne ever has the hammer at the end. I believe Patrick Wilson
tries
has
to take the hammer. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, this poster sucks.
It's not great.
There's another maybe teaser poster for it where it's just the baby and the little bassinet baby thing. I don't know. I don't speak to my children, but that is like spooky, where it's just a baby in the middle of the black void and the tagline, "It will take what you love most." Like, sure. And then there's the home video cover, which is both of those posters combined, and then it still looks like ass because Rose Byrne is still looking up at something that's not there. It's really bad.
Yeah, even when you were talking about the shadows, I thought like, oh, well, I see shadows. Is that the thing to look at? It's like, no, it's just the shadows from their heads. It's like, oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, it's not the best.
And there's another... Is it a UK poster? It looks like a quad poster, but it's the baby in the bassinet, and the shadow it's projecting is a person. I don't know who the fuck it is. Which is just like the demented version of the episode 1 teaser poster, I guess. But anyways, yeah, bad poster. I've thought that since the movie came out. It's just like, who decided that? That's quite bad. And like, but like, why is Patrick Wilson not on it? But like the first one doesn't have either of them on it, and that's good. It doesn't need. It's not like people are like, oh, the new Patrick Wilson film. Besides me, but it's just weird. Like, and to not have Dalton on the cover, and it's the second child that has a name, I'm sure. God, that scene where it's just like, what's the second child's name? I need to.
I watched the movie like 2 hours ago, and I've already forgotten.
Okay. It is Foster.
Right.
Where they just have a continuous bit where they're just talking into tin cans, and then
you're like, that'll be important.
And then Dalton's like, "Hey, we gotta go to sleep, man." And then Foster, we gotta go to sleep, and he's like, "I'm not Foster." I was like, "Oh no, oh no." Yeah, the kids are much more prominent in this movie, but then we were just like, where are the kids in the first one? And then we get them in this, and it's just like, well, not like that.
Well, yeah, and like I said, like, it's like revealed, I guess, like they're saying it with Barbara Hershey, but then it's like, I guess like you can't have them stay with like I guess it's like just like, I think that the character that they're having them stay with is like named Jessica or whatever, but like it's like Barbara Hershey and Rose Byrne are like having a conversation about like, hey, I think something's going on with Josh. I think this is like really dangerous and everything. And Hershey meanwhile is doing all this paranormal investigating with Carl and the Ghostbusters and everything. But then, like, you know, they, like, the kids, like, get dropped off by the babysitter, like, during the climax where, like, Wilson's, like, attacking this family. I'm thinking, feel like if you're really worried about Wilson's state of mind here, you would not want the kids, like, being dropped off there. Like, have them stay with Jessica or whoever for, like, a little while longer. It's just, like, yeah. And is the baby there, too? Is she just sleeping upstairs?
Sure.
Okay.
Heavy sleeper. I don't know. She's astral projecting as well. You can't say that in any context and it's not funny. Like when Daddy goes to sleep, his mind goes places, but his body doesn't. It's just like, okay, well, that's fine.
It's still happening.
What is? Tell us, what does she want?
I heard voices in the hallway. Is there something wrong with Daddy, Mom?
Whatever it was that was haunting my family, it's not done with us.
I know what happened. I went into that place to get our son back, and something evil followed me. Get out of my head!
There's someone standing in front of you. He's talking to you.
What's he saying?
He's got your baby. He's got your baby. He's got your baby.
He's got your baby.
Initial thoughts. I'm gonna get into it. I think it's like one of the most boring mainstream horror movies I've ever seen. It feels so fucking cobbled together, where it feels like they did reshoots, or like I said before, that it feels like A Better Tomorrow 2, where it's like John Woo and Troy Hark are both like making two different movies, and they're just like, it's fine, we'll fix it in post. Like everything with, it's just the tension and the scares from the first movie are fucking gone. The camera work is very innovative, I thought, in the first one, and very, at least noticeable, if not innovative, like very much put you on edge, is gone here. Which is like, if that's what he brought from The Conjuring over, because Conjuring, like, I don't remember exactly what it looks like. I love that movie, but it's not something where I was just like, oh, this shot and this, it looks perfectly okay. Like it's like a good score is more times than not just kind of, you don't really notice it, is the type of thing. Patrick Wilson and Rose Byrne don't even feel like the same characters, and they don't even feel like that important in this movie.
Excuse me, Wilson's possessed. Of course she's not the same person.
And Rose Byrne is just like, I'm just trying to do laundry again, and stuff is going on. And then Patrick Wilson's just like, no, it's not. It's really wild how they just couldn't give her a character in 2 movies. Where it's just like, yeah, I'm just doing some yard work, and then I just hear some song from the 50s all from, that's weird. We had to deal with the side stories because Barbara Hershey's like, I worked at a hospital once, and I'm like, why are we spending 30 minutes with this shit?
Worked at a hospital. I mean, she says that, but like, it looks like she's a doctor. She has like, like the fucking coat on, like the stethoscope, and she's like asking the nurse, how's this patient doing and everything. Like, that's like, I don't know. That's the impression I got, that like, oh, she's a doctor and everything. Kind of like being a little humble about this. They stained your credentials, but yeah.
And then yeah, like the citation needed joke I added about Wan putting what he learned from Conjuring, because this feels like nothing like The Conjuring, which is a great fucking movie, or even the first Insidious, a movie I'm like lukewarm on, but there are positives there to understand like why it's so big. But this just feels like nothing. But we do get a few bits of found footage, and that just not going.
I thought you would get a kick out of that. Yeah,
that is yes. But yeah, quite bad. And then it basically ends where it's just like, so everything that just happened, we're just going to forget about that. And it doesn't even feel that consequential. I mean, other than Patrick Wilson, trying to kill his family. But it feels like I don't know, it feels like another episode in a season kind of movie. I mean, it is chapter 2. I always love a movie where it's just like, it's not 2, it's actually chapter 2. This is meant to be the second one. It's just like, sure, buddy. And Insidious chapter 3, that's 1000% chapter 3, sure. Last Key, no chapter. But yeah, it's and then the ending that is a cliffhanger that is a prequel because Lin Shaye is still alive. She goes to see a random family with Jenna Ortega's there, or with your British Jenna Ortega.
Wait, hang on. Is it a prequel? I misunderstood that. I thought it was like, because doesn't Jenna Ortega say it's the lady standing right behind you and everything, and then isn't it like Lin Shaye that it pops into the frame?
That's right. Okay,
yes.
So it's not. But then the next 2 movies are prequels.
Yes,
so
chapter
really
3 fully a prequel. Yeah. Yeah.
And then Red Door, this ending stinger with Lin Shaye is not get paid off either. So chapter 2 ends on setting up a movie that never happened.
Yeah.
It's so fucking baffling. Yeah, I have a feeling that... Okay, so James Wan, what other sequels has he done?
Furious 7?
Wise. Did he do Conjuring 2?
Yes.
Okay. So Conjuring 2, also great as well. Furious... Okay, so 3 times he's sequelized his own movies. Saw, no. Insidious, yes. Insidious Chapter 2. Conjuring 1 and 2. Aquaman 1 and 2. Besides Conjuring 2, which I feel like I'm more positive than more people, but like it seems like most of his sequels are just like, he's just like, yeah, I guess that's what you want, because I feel like he felt bad that he never made Saw 2. So he's like, I'll do it, but I get, wait, check cleared? All right, cool. But I don't know. It doesn't feel like he wants to do this movie. It feels like it's just like, well, it ends with that, so he's possessed, right? Yeah, all right, so we can't just recreate the entire first movie. All right.
Is this also his
flashbacks?
Is this also his and Winnell's last collaboration, like as like writer and director? Because I think like that, like one of the few interviews I was reading was like, it seemed like they were like, a lot was made about like their sort of partnership and how they really played off each other well. But like, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, other than like Winnell wrote and directed Chapter 3, and I'm sure James Wan like produced or quote unquote produced it.
Produced and cameoed in it as theater director.
Of course.
Yeah, because he's not involved with Invisible Man and Wolfman and Upgrade. That's interesting. Huh.
I gotta be honest, that group chat's gotta be wild in like 2014, where like James Wan was just like, oh man, me and Big D's, we were just doing a shot for Furious 7, and dealing with everything with Paul Walker and whatnot has been really emotional, and Lee Winnell's just like, I just finished writing Cooties. And you're like, all right.
I met Dermot Mulroney.
I wrote The Mule. Oh, the Clint Eastwood movie? He's like, wait, how do you know about that? He's like, I can astral project to like 2019 or whenever The Mule came out. Okay, Brighton, have you seen Insidious Chapter 2 prior? If not, what'd you think?
No, I'd avoided it because I heard it was bad. Like, I don't think... we were talking about this. I think, like, I know maybe one person who likes this movie at all. And it's everyone else, I think, like, basically said, like, no, it's garbage. I'd seen Chapter 3 because I caught up with that as a Winnell fan. Like, I like a lot of his... I've liked all of his directed efforts, including the recent Wolfman. But it's... yeah, this has never been like a series I've like done a deep dive into, and it sounds like I don't need to see the others, even though I still have Red Door technically on my watch list.
It's not unwatchable.
Yeah,
like to me, it is the second best Insidious movie, but I still gave it 2 stars.
Yeah,
I mean, for everything with Patrick Wilson and Ty Simpkins is like that's like kind of he's kind of cooking there, but it's just it feels like anytime there needs to be a scare, he's just like, oh fuck, okay. And like it's like the script came to him as the Red Door, and then they just Cloverfield some references to the Red Door, and the Tiny Tim needle drop comes in as if it's just like it starts to come in, and people are just supposed to be like, oh fuck, they're doing it, that type of thing. And then like I said, like the demons in the movie are not just demons; they are very much about past trauma. So you have to deal with that. But I mean, it's totally watchable. And it's also an hour and 50 minutes.
Yeah, it's one of those movies where, like, I think I just, like, was not invested in the series enough. Like, even with, like, the interest of, like, oh, Patrick Wilson's directing a movie. It was like, I'm probably going to wait for that to come on stream. I'm not paying full price to do that.
Oh, no. God,
yeah. No. I don't know. I guess I'm in the minority. I thought this was okay. I guess that's maybe just because I had such low expectations for it, because, like, this had, like, kind of a really rancid reputation. And, like, I'm not even, like, a huge fan of the first movie. I think it's fine. I like some of James Wan's other movies better. But, like, it's just, I don't know. I think it's, I will say the thing that sort of bumped this up for me was, like, I think the colors look a little bit better than in the first movie. Like, especially, like, even though it's, like, one of those things, it's like, why would you want to live in a house like this? Where, like, the stained glass, like, in the stairwell, where it, like, has, like, this, like, constant, like, red light, especially, like, even when it's at night and everything. I think that's, like, really effective mood setting, and it's the thing of, like, if this was the first movie, it would probably just be like a great red light. Like, it would be very bad looking. Yeah, I think there's, like, effective stuff in this. Like, I mean, I like the scene where, like, she's like, it's kind of similar to the first movie where she, like, goes into the baby's room and is scared about that in the camera. But I like how the camera lurches towards, like, the crib when it's empty, and then, like, it's revealed that the kid is there. I like Patrick Wilson. I know it's kind of like I'm Patrick Wilson playing normal, but evil. But, like, I like the way that his voice is dropped, like, sort of like a couple of octaves, where he's, like, saying, where he's like, you don't know what it's like. I've been there. I know what death is like. And when he's attacking her, Rosemary near the end of the movie, maybe I had this thought just because it's James Wan and he worked with this actor before, but I sort of thought, this kind of sounds like Kevin Bacon here almost. Like, But yeah, and I think, like, they're committed enough performers that, like, they ground this movie even in sillier elements. But I will say the script is, like, on a writing level, is a lot sloppier. With like, especially, like, the way that, like, it feels like it's constantly having to explain what's going on to the audience. Like, especially, like, when, like whether it's, like, the people, like, explaining what's happened in the movie, showing us scenes from the previous film, which is something that Juan said he wanted to do. He talked about this, like, in IndieWire, or no, it's in a Slash Film interview where he talked about, like, Phantasm, which I haven't seen. He says, like, in the sequels, he says in one of the sequels, Coscarelli went back and showed a flashback from the first film, but using footage they did not use in the cut of the first movie. And so I love that there were certain things that I kept out in the first movie. So it's like, okay. But it is also sort of, and, like, I did think it was kind of cool when it's, like, revealed that, like, the big, like, knocking in the middle of the night scene from the first movie was Wilson astral projecting.
That shit sucks.
I thought it was kind of cool.
Shit.
I mean, they talk about how it's, like, a time travel movie, and it's like, it's like, even in, like, when it's, like, clearly not a great movie or anything, I am just sort of a sucker for, like, finding it's like, oh, so that's what that was. It's like, that's kind of cute, I guess. I'm a sucker for that sort of.
That reminded me of fucking. I only remember this because I watched a video reminding me of the in Cloverfield Paradox. They retcon shit where it's just like, no, it was people in the future that send the monster into Cloverfield, and also people in the future that at the end of Cloverfield, that's what that. I was like, that sucks. like, stop it.
Well, yeah, and then like the need to, I'm like not just explaining it with like with all this exposition, which one tries to make it like exciting visually.
Tries to make it so much more complex than it needs to be.
On a writing level, it's like real sweaty, especially like, and then like it gets into dicey territory when you get into the backstory of the entity, which turns out to be like it was a serial killer who had like serious gender identity issues because of like their abusive mother, to the point where like they started killing people for their mother, the movie explains, and then also trying to castrate themselves. And you're just like, this all feels like really. It's like, I know maybe our culture was
with a demon in the first movie.
It's like, one, you don't need to explain that this was like the spirit of a serial killer. Scary demon is enough. But also, it's like, I know that like our culture still probably had like a little bit to learn like about this stuff like 10 years ago. Goodness knows I did, because I was just a teenager and everything. But it's like a thing of like, this feels like this was written in like the 90s, and like you'd be like, this. No, don't do this. Especially because, like, I mean, I guess the movie's sympathetic to the spirit of like the little boy when like Lisa's like, I will set you free and everything. But it's like, you're not really lending a lot of dimensionality, and you're throwing in a lot of really retrograde tropes in here. Yeah, it does not work for me in that regard. But then like also you're not only having like the characters explain what's going on, but then you're also having Wilson as the demon saying like, I haven't felt pain in him. I forgot what it felt like to feel pain. I like it, not as much as I enjoy inflicting pain on others. I'm like, again, you attacking your family is like proof enough that I know you like this. It's like, yeah, it's really just like, it's real sweaty. And then like, yeah, Samson and Winnell, like I think for a little bit I was thinking, okay, like they're like, the way they're reacting to like the loss of Lynn Shay, where like they're saying, oh man, being like seeing dead people all the time, I thought it would make it easier. It doesn't. I was sort of admiring how it was taking it a little bit more seriously. But then like at the end of the movie, it's like fucking Angus Sampson is like, he gets hit with his own tranquilizer, falls on top of Lee Winnell, who's fallen and he can't get up. And then like Winnell wakes up, runs to the basement, and then the camera like fucking pans over to Sampson, and he's like audibly snoring. I'm just like, this is not the time for a gag. You were timing this badly. But yeah.
You go back to Samson, and he's eating his ninth Hot Pocket of the film.
Was it Hot Pockets? I wasn't sure if it was like an apple pie or like one of those sort of things you can
get. It was a Hot Pocket.
It was a Hot Pocket? Okay.
Yeah, it has to be. Oh, God, there was one line, because when I was rewatching this, I was like, what in the fuck is going on? So I went to Wikipedia, and I read a sentence like 9 fucking times, and I was like, no. So let me try set this up, and then they contact Elisa's former colleague, Carl, who attempts to contact Elisa's spirit. Yeah. They instructed to find answers at an abandoned hospital. Why? But where Lorraine used to work as a physician. Lorraine recounts the story of a patient named Parker Crane, who 24 years ago had assaulted a thin young Josh. Also, why is that it's so stupid. She saw Parker out of his bed some day later, but was informed by a nurse that he jumped to his death the day before. The group then goes to Crane's family home, where Lorraine is attacked by the spirit of Parker's mother, Michelle, who calls herself Mother Mortis. She is the spirit Carl had summoned and mistakenly believed to be Elise. I read that sentence like 5 times, and I was like, where are we?
Right. I forgot about that. It is pretty convoluted when you break it down like that. Yeah. And then it's
the group then goes to Crane's family home, where Lorraine is attacked by the spirit of Parker's mother, Michelle, who calls herself Mother Mortis. She is the spirit Carl had summoned, mistakenly believed to be Elise. The first movie is about a demon dancing to Tiny Tim.
Right, and then like doesn't Carl say like they're saying like Mater Mortis and everything? It's like what, and Lee Winnell's like, what does that mean? And Carl is like, it's literal, a mother of death. It's like Parker's mother. I'm like, huh?
Who? Like, the guy that she saw at the hospital.
I guess like
why are we following that guy? I don't care.
I guess it's because Parker tried to assume the disguise of his mother when he was killing his victims. I guess that's what it was, but I don't know.
The group finds a secret room containing numerous corpses, a black wedding gown, and a news clipping leading them to discover that Parker had been a serial killer known as the Bride in Black, which, like, the scene where it goes back and it's his mom, like, the thing that, like, not so much in the first one, but this one, it's just, like, literally, like, all the scares, it's just, like, an older woman, like, screaming things, and I'm just like, it's not scary. This entire scene is so not scary.
Right.
At the behest of his mother's spirit. So she was dead. I assume, don't care, that he killed her and then went quote unquote wild and then started killing people.
Like maybe like a psycho kind of thing. Like, and when I say psycho, I mean like the Hitchcock movie. Like, do you think it's like that kind of?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Which I think people have had many things to say about the ending of that film as well. Josh's body begins to slowly deteriorate. Carl, Specs, and Tucker arrive to drug him, but he incapacitates. Oh, yeah. We're just like, why don't you ask your dice what I have behind my back? And he's like, knife? Like, the dice thing is so fucking... Oh, it's so dumb. It's so dumb.
It made
just
me
like,
think
at least talk to us in these fucking Yahtzee dice.
You know what it made me think of was the I think I should leave sketch where it's the courtroom where like they're reading text messages and they're talking about Brian having the hat, but it's like I think I saw a bulge in his pocket. I think he had dice in his pocket. Was about to take them.
What the fuck? Oh my god. Yeah, that why is Carl in this movie? I don't give a fuck about Carl.
I mean, also the thing we were talking about, I said like, you know, I was thinking about the VHS exposition made me think of Malignant, which like that's like a good chunk of that movie. But then like also it's like they have this movie at the start with like the flashback where Elise comes downstairs like that is a malignant thing that is up there. It's like, hey, I reckon. And I'm just like, it's just one of those things where you're watching James Wan movies where, and I messaged you this and I was like also like, oh, and there's like a picture of Billy the Puppet on the chalkboard at Josh's high school and everything. I thought like, oh, that's just like kind of cute, like those little like sort of things that you can sort of get sometimes when you're seeing a filmmaker and seeing a filmmaker's work and you're like, oh, well, they would return to this idea later on and also have little Easter eggs. I don't know. It's, yeah.
I like in the first one where Patrick Wilson is a teacher at school and he teaches subjects and he needs to grade papers.
Like I said, thinly sketched.
Yeah. I do love that he comes home from working a teaching job where presumably he'd be home at like 3 and he comes home at like 9:30. He's like, my bad, I had papers to grade. And be like, which any sensible person would be like, so you're cheating on me. And he was just like, you know what, I'm just going through stuff, you know?
Yeah.
That's fine.
And Rose Byrne plays music. That's like the thing. Like I was wondering.
I think she wrote one song.
Well, and then like that factors into it where it's like she's playing the song, and it's like, oh, it's like my song, and he's like, huh? And then she's like, oh, that's a demon. I will say, it's kind of a funny edit when it's like Patrick Wilson, like he's like sitting there with the bat, and he's like, you live in the shadows now. He leaves the room, and then it's 2 seconds it cuts to Patrick Wilson like, ow!
He's like, get out of my head. Yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Okay, just the end. Yeah. Meanwhile, in the physical world, the possessed Josh attacks his family, locking Lorraine in a closet and attempting to kill Renee, Dalton, and Foster, who flee to the basement. Dalton voluntarily enters the further to help his father,
and he falls asleep the fastest anyone has fallen asleep without narcolepsy or medication.
That might be a part of the astral projecting. That he can just be like, he's out. There, Josh and the others find Parker's house, where they witness Michelle abusing him and forcing him to act like a girl. Elise appears to destroy Michelle's spirit, which stops the possessed Josh from murdering his family. Oh yeah, she kills the shit
with
out of
like the wooden toy horse. Yeah.
Yes.
And then like Josh is like, oh, my head really hurts in the real time.
Dalton leads Josh and Carl back to the living world, allowing Josh to fully regain control of his body after their ordeal. Josh and Dalton once again have their memories suppressed by Carl. Oh yeah, Carl shows up at the very start of Red Door, which, of course, Patrick Wilson doesn't know who he is. And he's just like, I was a friend of your mother's. And he's like, oh, cool. And I'm pretty sure that's it. But yeah.
And it's the thing, too, where, like, this movie maybe... I mean, I like that you told me, it's like, and at the start of Red Door, Byrne and Wilson are divorced. And it's like, yeah, that checks out. The end of this movie, it's like he hugs his son because, like, they have the bond for being in, like, the further. And but, like, Byrne is, like, understandably, like, a little trepidatious about, like, approaching him again, because it's like, he did just try to murder their family while possessed. And then it's like, I mean, the lesson of, like, them being like, all right, well, we're just gonna forget this, me and Dalton and everything. And then they're like, it's like
everybody else is fine.
Yeah, it's like, and
why
they
did
will be
they
fine
only
or
do
else.
that?
It's super strange.
If Carl has the ability to just suppress memories, why can't he do that for the entire family? Why is he just like, it only works for like 2 people? I'm sorry.
Yeah, and also just an interesting way to, like, a lot of horror movies deal with trauma. It's like, it's weird to, like, think about. It's like, just shove that shit back inside. It's just like,
never happened. Bye.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would be funny if they didn't suppress some memories, and then you just get a movie where it's just 10 years of arguments between Rose Byrne and Patrick Wilson, and be like, how many times do I have to tell you I was possessed? That wasn't me. I don't even know where we would get a knife that I could try to kill Carl with.
And it's the thing too, like, he doesn't, like, the thing is, like, part of the suppressed memories is that, like, he didn't like having his picture taken. What if it's, like, also, like, they just, like, keep having it be like, he doesn't like having his picture taken, he turns out Tiny Tim whenever people play him.
Anytime we're trying to do home renovations with a hammer, he gets really pissy.
Anytime we bring home, like, canned soup, he gets really upset.
I mean, I wish that there was, like, at the start of Red Door, would have been, like, at least, like, 10 to 15 minutes of, like, those 10 years in between, where it's just, like, Rose Byrne is very much, like, very understandably, like, put off by everything, and Patrick Wilson's like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not doing anything wrong. And it's like, he's not, and he didn't, because it's not him. Mm-hmm. But it just starts, and it's just like, the past 10 years, and the audience is supposed to be like, I guess, sure.
Past 10 years in which you were a teacher of school.
I think she does mention that, where it's just like, because it starts out and, like, Dalton needs to go to college, and she's going to take him, and she's like, oh, why don't you take him? He's like, he don't like me. And she's like, all right, fine. But then he gets in his car, and we get text messaged on screen where he's just like, hey, hold on. Hey, Dalton, can I drive you to college? And then it's like 5 minutes later, it's like Dalton's text message pops up, sure. And then I think she says, like, oh, you can take him. He's like, I've got school. And then she's like, oh, okay. Red Door is not the worst. It more so than anything, it's just like, it was so disappointing, because I was like, the first 20-30 minutes, I was like, this is pretty good. And then it remembers it has to be an Insidious movie, and it's just like, oh, well, okay. Any other Insidious thoughts? Chapter 1, Chapter 2.
Other thing I must shut out, it's weird that I'm familiar with the score, because I think I've only just seen, like, little snippets of this movie, but the trailer for Insidious Chapter 2 includes the score for Gaspar Noé's Irreversible, where it's like,
deranged.
And it's just interesting to hear that. Hear a movie that also has, like, has a reputation for being extremely transgressive, being used to market just like, a PG-13 horror movie. Yeah.
Before going back to school, yeah. If you're a fan of I Stand Alone, it's like, go on. Yeah, I was also curious of, like, when did Chapter 3 and Chapter 4 came out? Chapter 3 came out June 5th. That's interesting.
That's the same weekend as Spy, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so, yes.
And that's counter-programming.
The thing is that all 4 Insidious movies, like, made fucking bank.
Because they didn't cost that much, right? Like, even as they became popular, like, that's, like, it's still relatively...
Last Key was 10 million. Chapter 3 was 11 million. And both of them made like 110 million. Like, I mean, that's also just Blumhouse. Like, almost all of their movies are like 5-10 million. If they make 100 million, we're good. And then everybody else is like, no, we can't do that. Sorry. That's a you thing, Mr. Blum. And then Last Key, do you know what month that came out? That's right. January.
Yes, I remember that's January 2018, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. January 5th, which is just like the deadest of dead zones. Which Red Door was July 7th. So it's back and forth like summer and start of the year, summer, start of the year. There is 2 more movies, I believe, coming out. I believe one is like a spin-off. I think one of them might have gotten canned. No. There's the Jeremy Slater directed one with Mandy Moore and Camille Nanjiani. Is that still happening? Or I think it's called like Thread, a Insidious story or something like that.
Thread, and then Insidious tale. And Slater has not directed any movies yet, but he has written Godzilla, X Kong, The New Empire, Fantastic Four 2015, Death Note 2017, The Lazarus Effect from 2015, Pet from 2016, Mortal Kombat 2, which is coming out soon. Only seen 2 of these movies. Not the best work I've ever seen. But we'll see. Yeah, and then we already mentioned too the canceled, the abruptly canceled live show for Insidious, The Further You Fear, which I think we were reading like the AV Club article where it said like it was like written on January, like started on like January 18th, and then by January 29th they're writing the article. It's like no more Insidious show.
Somehow the Red Door made the most money out of all of them. Yeah, it made $190 million worldwide. I'm seeing here that last month it was announced that Insidious 6 has set 3 actors that I'm too old to know of. They are joined previously announced Amy, Eve, and Lin Shaye. So Lin Shaye is going to be in the 6th one. As we told you, this movie is shooting in Australia from director Jacob Chase off a screenplay he co-wrote with David Leslie Johnson for a August 21st, 2026 release. 2023 was the last thing that was reported on, so...
well, that's because Red Door was hot news.
$119 million! Made the most money!
And,
I mean, to the point where they're making 2 at once, allegedly.
Yeah. And Jacob Chase, it looks like his most popular movie that he's directed on Letterboxd is Come Play with Julian Jacobs. I mean, yes. I mean, I didn't realize it until I listened to...
Is that poster pixelated on Letterboxd?
Well, yeah, that was the thing. I just remember it's like Come Play and everything, like as if like, you know, like an invitation and everything. But it wasn't until I listened to Blake Chuck's Bank episode where they said, like, the movie's called Come Play. It's like, oh yeah, I guess it does. When you read it with that emphasis, it does sound like really bad. Yeah.
Are you a film fan who loves the ultimate home video experience? Look no further than The Disconnected. Your host, Ryan Verrill, is your go-to source for the latest and most accurate information on home video releases, exclusive interviews with industry insiders and filmmakers, and has established a thriving community where every film and physical media enthusiast feels welcome. From hidden gems to blockbuster hits, The Disconnected brings you insider knowledge and a welcoming space to share your love of cinema. Watch every Thursday night at 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific for the live announcements show and follow The Disconnected on social media to stay updated. Subscribe to The Disconnected on YouTube or on the podcast provider of your choice and dive into a world where every movie night is an adventure.
Thank you for listening. To hear more shows from the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network, please select the link in the description